everyone, Miss Soma here. So today I'm going to be going over angle relationships so you all can do your retakes on this unit. And I posted it on my calendar under March 27th. And if you prefer to do it on Naiku, just shoot me an email and I will send you the code. So I resumed everyone as well. So in case you prefer the online test. Okay, so I'm just going to be going over the 4 main vocabulary words for this unit. So it's vertical, adjacent, complementary, and supplementary. All right, so vertical is when the form is an intersection of 2 lines. So right here, so these 2 here, and they're across from each other. So these 2 here are vertical pairs, and this right here is a vertical pair as well. Okay, and then adjacent is when these 2 angles are sharing the same side. So for example, like this. So they're sharing this side. This is their common side. So this angle is adjacent to that angle. You can do it this way as well, as long as they're sharing the same side. We can even have it that way. And this angle here is adjacent to this angle here. Okay. Now, complementary is, they could be adjacent, okay? Or they could be separate from each other. So let's say I have 2 angles here and another angle here. Another angle here. And not that one. Okay, so for example, I have another angle here and then another angle here. Okay, so then as long as they add up to 90 degrees, they are complementary pairs. And in this case, these 2 angles here are also adjacent to each other and they form 90 degrees. And what helps you remember is when you look at the first letter, see, it forms a corner. So when you see complementary and you can like forget which is which, and then you say, oh, see, it forms a corner, so 90 degrees. And then supplementary is it forms a straight line together and they add up to be 180 degrees. So that's the example that I have here. So for example, you have an angle right here, and you don't have to be adjacent to each other. And then you will have another angle. So this angle 1 here and angle 2. And then if they add up to 180 degrees, then we say, oh, they are supplementary pairs. Okay, so again, vertical pairs, they make an X. Adjacent, they are sharing the same side. So they have a common side. Complementary, they add up to 90 degrees, and supplementary, they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, so let's do some exercise here. So we have, let's see. Okay, so it forms an X. So what is the relationship between the 2? Vertical pairs. Okay, so now let's try. Oh, so also vertical angles are equal to each other. So if this is 40 degrees, this is also 40 degrees. So now if this is 40 degrees, remember these 2 angles right here, they form a straight line. So they should add up to 180 degrees. So if this is 40, that makes this right here 140 degrees. And look which one is adjacent to this. It's adjacent to this angle right here. So that makes this 140 degrees as well. Okay, so now let's try another one. Let's see this. I'm going to say that this is 30 degrees. So what is the measure of the other angle? So then we know that this adds up to 180. So that makes this 150 degrees. Okay, now let's see another one. If this is 20 degrees, that would make this one. So it adds up to 90. So that would give you 70 degrees. Okay? So now let's try incorporating our skill on solving equations here. So let's try with, let's see, this one. If I'm gonna give you that this is 4x and this is 60, for example. Okay, so what is the relationship between the two angles? They're vertical pairs and they are equal to each other. So therefore, my angle 1, and I'd like you to change it first into angle 1 and angle 2, and then look at the relationship from there. So angle 1, I know that angle 1 is equal to angle 2. So angle 1 is equal to angle 2. Okay, now what is the expression for angle 1? 4x. How about angle 2? 60. And then you have an equation there. So you have a one-step equation here. So divided by 4. So x is equal to 15 degrees. So I know that my x value is 15. So all you need to do is, okay, in the test, if I'm just going to ask you solve for x, then you stop right here. But then if I'm going to ask you, what is the angle measure for angle 1? So now you would have to substitute your x value into the expression. So the measure of angle 1 is 4x. So that means 4 times 15. So it's 60 degrees. And you see, angle 1 has to be 60 degrees because it has to be equal to angle 2. And if my test is like that, you don't even have to go through all the work here. You know that right away, angle 1 is also 60 degrees. Okay, so let's try another example. Let's do, I'm going to make it smaller. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to say that this is 4x and this is 6x plus 2. Okay? So now, let's say this is my angle 1, this is my angle 2. Okay, so what is the relationship between angle 1 and angle 2? Okay, so together, if I'm going to add their angles, they form a straight line. So now I know that this is supplementary and therefore they add up to 180 degrees. So I know that my angle 1 plus my angle 2 is equal to 180 degrees. Okay, now what is the expression we use for angle 1? 6x plus 2 plus, I put that big plus there so you know that I'm just substituting the expressions for angle 1 and angle 2. Now what is the expression for angle 2? 4x. Okay? So now we could just solve equations here. So 6x plus 4x. We're just combining like terms on the same side of the equal sign. So we have 10x plus 2 is equal to 180 degrees. Then I'm going to subtract 2. So 10x is equal to 178 degrees divided by 10. So x is 17.8 degrees. Again, if in the test I just simply say solve for x, you're done already. You stop right here. But then if I would say what is the measure of angle 1? So now you have to go back to the expression that we use for angle 1. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to 6x plus 2. And then you would do 6 times x is 17.8 plus 2. So it is 6 times 17.8? 108.8. Oh, sorry. 106. I just added it right away. So 6 times 17.8 is 106. Okay, let me start. 106.8 plus 2, so 108.8. Okay, so then the measure of your angle 1 is 108.8. So let's try angle 2. So angle 2 would be, the measure of angle 2 is 4x. So that gives you 4 times 17.8. So 4 times 17.8 is 71.2. And then if you add these two together, that will give you 180 degrees. Okay? All right, let's do a few more. Okay. Let's try this one here. Okay. And so it's forming a 90 degree. So these two angles is going to be complementary. So we have 2x and then let's say 6x minus 8 here. Okay. So now I'm going to make this my angle 1 and my angle 2. It doesn't matter. You can make this angle 1 and angle 2. Okay. So now what is the relationship between angle 1 and angle 2? If you're going to add this together, it will give you 90 degrees. Okay. So now we say angle 1 plus angle 2 is equal to 90 degrees. Now, what is angle 1? 2x. Okay? And then, what is angle 2? 6x minus 8. Okay? So, you're just putting the expression we use to represent angle 1 and angle 2. Now, I can combine like terms. 2x plus 6x, that gives me 8x minus 8 equals 90. Plus 8, so 8x is equal to 98. Divided by 8, so x is equal to 12.25. Okay? So now I'm going to say, again, if this is a test and I say just solve for x, then you're already done. This is your answer right here. But then if I would say, what is the measure of angle 1? So now the measure of angle 1 is 2x. So now 2 times what is our x value? 12.25. So that means the measure of angle 1 is 24.5. And then let's solve for the measure of angle 2, which is 6x minus 8. What is our x? 12.25 minus 8. So that gives me 73.5 minus 8. So that gives me 65.5. And if you're going to add 24.5 plus 65.5, that gives you 90 degrees. Okay. Let's try another one. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to say that this is my angle 1 and this is my angle 2. And I give you that this is 6x minus 10 and this is 2x plus 4. Okay, so let's solve. So what is the relationship between angle 1 and angle 2? They are vertical pairs. So we formed an x. So now I say that angle 1 is equal to angle 2. So angle 1 is 6x minus 10. Angle 2 is 2x plus 4. And then you solve for x using equations again. So there are two x's here. So I'm going to remove one of them. So I'm going to remove 2x. So I'm going to put minus 2x minus 2x. Okay? So is equal to 4. 6x minus 10 plus 10. So 6x is equal to 14. And then divided by 6. X is equal to 3.5. Okay. And then since we want to know the measure of each angle, so the measure of angle 1 is 6x minus 10. So 6 times 3.5 minus 10. So that gives me, what is 6 times 3.5? So 21 minus 10. That gives me 11. And then the measure of angle 2. So 2x plus 4. What is the value of our x from here? It's 3.5. So I'm going to substitute my x with 3.5 plus 4. So that gives me 7 plus 4. And it's also 11. So angle 1 and angle 2 are equal to each other. Okay, so before I keep on giving more practice exercise on finding the angle measure using equations, let's practice a little bit more on the vocabulary words. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna make this drawing right here. Let's say I'm gonna make a drawing like that. This is my angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now I'm gonna say, in the test, I would say, which angle is vertical to 5? So you're just gonna look at angle 5 and trace both sides of that angle. Trace both legs. Okay, so angle 5 is vertical to 2. Okay? All right, let's see. I'm gonna ask, what angle is vertical to angle 6? So now you're gonna trace your angle 6. Okay. So now your angle 6 is vertical to angle 3. Okay? And now let's try another one. Okay. I'm going to name this 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I would say, oh, which angle is adjacent to angle 4? So now, adjacent is next to 4, sharing the same side as 4. So now, it's going to be this. So angle 1 is the answer, and angle 3 is also an answer. Now, which one is adjacent to 1? Then you would say 5 and 2. Which one is supplementary to 1? So, supplementary makes a straight line and it adds up to 180 degrees. So, 1 is here. So, 1, I can see a straight line here. So, 1 is supplementary to angle 4. And it's also supplementary. I can also see a line here. And it's also supplementary to 2. Okay? Now let's do a few more examples. Let's make this one here. Okay. So now I say, which one? Okay, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so which two angles are supplementary to each other? So when you say supplementary pair, it's just made up of 2 angles. So which one is supplementary to each other? So which one would add up to 180 degrees? So the only pair here would be 4 and 5. Okay, they're supplementary to each other. Then I would say, which one are vertical pairs? So remember, you're gonna trace both sides of your angle, and I'm gonna trace this one. Okay, it forms an X there. So angle 3 is vertical to angle 5. Okay? And if I'm gonna add a symbol here, 90 degrees, you cannot assume that it's 90. You have to always look for those symbols. So now I would say which are complementary pairs. So that would say angle 1 and angle 2. Okay, so now let's get back to more practice exercise. Okay, so let's do another angle here. So let's try okay, I like making it like this. Okay, so now this is, I'm gonna say that this is 6x plus 10, and I'm gonna say that this is 8x over here, and this forms a 90 degree, and this is my angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. Okay, and then I would like you to give me the measure of all the angles, angle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. All right, so what is the given information here? I am given that angle 5, I have angle 5 and angle 2. Okay, so let's trace that one because I'm suspecting these are vertical pairs. So let's trace. All right, so I know that angle 5 is vertical to angle 2. Therefore, they are equal to each other. So now I'm going to say angle 5 is equal to angle 2. Okay, now angle 5 is 8x. And then angle 2 is 6x plus 10. Okay, so now I'm going to do minus 6x, minus 6x. So 2x is equal to 10. And then divided by 2. So x is equal to 5. Again, I'm not done yet. I'm just solving for the value of x. So now, let's start knowing. So we need to know the measure of angle 1, the measure of angle 2. So angle 2 is 6x plus 10. Okay, then I know that my x value is 5. So now 6 times 5 plus 10 is 30 plus 10. So I know that my measure for angle 2 is 40 degrees. So I know that that's 40 degrees. Now let's look at angle 1. If this is 40 degrees, and remember it's complementary to angle 1. So if this is 40 degrees right here, then that tells me that this is 50 degrees. So the measure of angle 1 is 50 degrees. Okay? Now let's solve for angle 5. Okay, so measure of angle 5. So we have, that's 8x. So the measure of angle 5 is 8x. So now you will have 8 times 5. All right, so I know that measure of angle 5 is also 40 degrees because look, they're vertical to each other. All right, so which one is vertical to angle 1 if this is 50? So let's trace the sides of our angle 1. I'm gonna use a different color. I'm gonna use purple. All right, so angle 1. Oh, does this work? It doesn't work. Okay, let's try this one. So angle 1. Okay, I'm not liking these pens. All right, let's try this. All right, so angle 1. It's equal to angle 4. So that means my angle 4 is also 50 degrees. Okay? And then, look, if this is 90 degrees over here, this should also be 90 degrees over here. So our angle 6 is 90 degrees, and it's vertical to angle 3. So angle 3 is also 90 degrees. All right? So again, Please do the retake on this unit. And if you want to do it on Naiku, just shoot me an email so I can give you the code. All right, till next time. Bye.